violent vertical edge setter.
I see some ass on the hips. Get that mic up to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop. You're finished. Hey, first down. This is weird. It worse than that side.
Hey, howdy doody. Yeah. All right. Howdy doody. Remember, it's howdy doody time. It's howdy doody time. About 13% of my folks remember that one, but I'm sure you're out there. Hello, everybody. I'm GreenBean. Welcome to the After Hours Jets Fest, where we kind of we wrap up some lingering ideas from the previous stream, the 2-hour Talking Jets panel, right here on the Talking Jets YouTube channel. And now we're over here on GreenBean's channel, and we're just going to kind of, settle into the evening, talk about the last little things we want to get off our chest and deconstruct in a little bit more of a slower, calmer environment. I'm glad that you hang out with me. This is one of my favorite things to do, if not my favorite thing to do in this space. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you guys hang. Jay-Z's in his house. Missed you too, buddy. I miss everybody, man. I'm like, you guys know my output, my content creation has taken a major dip. As of late, I am just destroyed with all the hours that I put into some other things that I'm shot. But I got to say, these are exciting times. Look, and the Jets know how to do this. When, it's like the Godfather 3. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. The Jets are the top team in the NFL at knowing how to keep their fans engaged. As soon as there's something, they do something else to bring us back. They do it all the time. And now we got the Aaron Glenn hiring. Obviously, we hired Mooj, our GM, as well. But the real excitement, I would say, is around Aaron Glenn, former player. And even though we all talked about and deconstructed this coaching hiring process for however long, we had our favorites, and we all made our points about this guy, about that guy, and the pros and cons and everything. And Aaron Glenn, as you know, was not my top candidate. He was on my list, but I have concerns, and they were, basically just the formulaic concerns, not the man. Just the fact that the Jets are once again hiring a rookie defensive coordinator paired with a rookie GM, and then on top of that, hiring the coach before the GM and so forth and so on. That all aside, I love Aaron Glenn, and I thought that the presser was a home run. Some real great sound bites that came out of it. The one that everybody's talking about most is we're the freaking New York Jets and we're built for this shit. Yeah, right on. But the one that really got me, and I think I will give a nod to the folks that placed a higher value on the fact that he's one of us, right? Like I told you guys, that doesn't carry as much weight for me as it did for some others. But the presser, when he said, the 1998 AFC Championship game against the Denver Broncos, we were up 10-0 at the half. And he brought up the kickoff. It just kind of hung in the air, and they ended up getting it. But they ended up scoring more than us in the second half, and they ended up winning the game. And he said, I want that one back. So that made its way right into my soul. It's like, okay, he gets it. He remembers. He's been carrying that one just like we have. He wants it back. That, I was like, okay, I got to give a nod to the folks that placed more value on that than me during the hiring process, because boy, oh boy, did that really resonate with me. I like it. I like it. So, hey, man, exciting times. Now, I will tell you, and the title of the show, and we'll talk about this, is I'm really most interested in who the hell our OC is going to be. That to me is pivotal. The Jets, as we've talked about, have had 7 offensive coordinators in the last 10 years, 13 in the last 16 years. So it's like, well, it's crazy. Or I'm sorry, 10 in the last 16 years. 10 offensive coordinators, 7 offensive coordinators in 10 years. It's like, it's no wonder that we struggle with the offensive side of the ball. We can't seem to get it right. And I think that's because we don't place a premium on it, on the infrastructure around our offense. It's vitally important that this time is different. Now, we were hoping for guys like Clint Kubiak, right? A lot of us wanted him. A lot of us wanted, a lot of Jets fans were hoping for an offensive-minded head coach to start with. That didn't happen. We lost out on Clint Kubiak. So there's still some guys out there, right? The names that we're hearing are Caley, Brunell, come on. What was the other? Engstrand from the Lions. And, Morton was another name that was on our list, and he was hired as the Lions OC. So, it's like we don't want to keep seeing these guys just falling off the table for us, So whatever it is, I like slow and steady. I like systematic. I'm all about that stuff. But sometimes you got to make your move, and you got to make sure that you get your guy. If Caley is the guy that Aaron Glenn wants most, you got to get him. Now, I don't know if he's better than Engstrand or Brunell. I would say, I'm good with that. I do lean Brunell. That's kind of the guy I want. I brought it up many times. Smoke break between the show. Right. What's up, Beefy? What's up, Jay-Z? What's up, TL? What's up, Curly? Should I call you Curly or should I call you Norman? Right? What do you think? I think Curly's better for the show. You know what I mean? Some fun. But you tell me, buddy. Back porch sports in the house. What's up with you, man? Good to see you. So, that's kind of where my concern is. We also hear Todd Haley. I'll be honest with you. That's not what I want. I don't want an old retread kind of a guy. We've also heard, I don't think there's any real weight to it, but we've heard Doug Peterson thrown around. I don't see that happening. And it's again, not the worst thing in the world, but I want something like young 21st century offense, exciting. That's what I want. I want inspiring. I want the offensive players, the Breece Halls, the Garrett Wilsons of the world, to feel as though we're placing a focus on this, a premium on this, and get them inspired again. Because boy, oh boy, Hackett and then Downing, you know what I mean? It's just enough of this. Who else we got in here? Todd's here. Howdy. Yeah, howdy doody. All right. DLB knows. Howdy doody. Right on. Tyrone Johns. I'm hoping we can get a good offensive coordinator. Yeah, dude, you and me both, Tyrone. That's what it's kind of the job, right? That's the order of the day. The defensive coordinator, as long as he's not a complete waste of space, Aaron Glenn's defense. So he can bolster that. Granted, we want our head coach to be the head coach more than focusing on one side of the ball, but I feel pretty secure that the defense is going to be Aaron Glenn's in many respects. So, it's about the offense, Tyrone. I'm with you. Wild Wave is here. Good to see you, buddy. Mitt Flair's in the house. Right on. James is in the house, too. Danger Zone. Danger Zone. Yeah. Hello to you. Duncan McLean is back. What's up, Duncan? Good to see you, my friend. Well, I don't think it's overrated. I think that it's just like nothing can be the singular variable, right? That's kind of how I look at it. It's, part of the process, something you factor in. And certain coaching trees are going to have certain traits to them. Parcellian, there's a lot of success with the Parcellian tree. And I think is really what I like about it is I feel like it's what the doctor ordered for the Jets. Like we are just lack of discipline, lack of accountability, lots of penalties, like all that. That's what we need. We need somebody to come in here and get this thing in ship shape. Like all the ancillary baloney, enough. You have a job to do. I love what Aaron Glenn said too, man. He said, in order to have accountability, you got to start with responsibility, right? What is your responsibility that I'm holding you accountable to? If that's not established, then what are we talking about? And I love that. So that's the way we got to start. Paisan. Yeah, Codrington. Isn't that something? But no, we love Xavier Gibson. Xavier Gibson's pushed all kinds of fun guys off the team. Whether it's Mecole Hardman, whether it's Malachi Corley can't get on the field, or whether we let Codrington go, and he's significantly more dynamic for the Bills than what we got. Is that a fair thing to say? Flatbush Dre. Hey, GreenBean, we need to get all the... I'm telling you, right, man? Stop dragging our ass, Flatbush. All right, so what? Really, you're that young? Wild Wave, I thought you were an old head like me. I don't know why I thought that. What he's talking about is the AFC Championship game in 98. Now, the Broncos were there too, but in my opinion, we were the best team in the NFL. And the Atlanta Falcons surprised, I believe it was the Vikings, to get into the Super Bowl that year. And let me just tell you, the Jets, if we got in the Super Bowl against that Atlanta Falcons team, we were going to beat the living hell out of them. So that game was first. They got in. They surprised and, upset the Vikings. I'm pretty sure it was the Vikings. It was just, and you know what else? Let me tell you this, Wild Wave. I've mentioned this a few times, but it's been a while since I've done it. So for a fan like me, I've been a Jets fan since I'm 10 years old, but I've also been a Kiss fan since I'm 4 years old, right? Diehard Kiss fan my whole life. It just so happened that Super Bowl, Kiss was playing at the Super Bowl. So the Jets, we get a home playoff game, which I went to, against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And back in the day when you had to stand online and get the wristband for the tickets and that whole thing, we did that. My buddy Frank Baden did that. We got tickets together. But so we got our tickets. We saw the home playoff game live against the Jaguars. That was when Keyshawn had like 2 touchdowns and an interception because he played on Hand's team on defense. Amazing. So it's announced that Kiss, my favorite band, is playing in the Super Bowl, which they'd never done before. And the Jets are going to the AFC Championship game. I was convinced God is finally smiling on me. The football gods, the curse. What I thought it was finally, this was built for me. It's finally my time. And we were up 10-0 at the half. So that's what he's talking about. And we had the team. We were up on the Broncos. We should have beat them. We could have beat them. We were built, and we were definitely good enough to beat them. And the Super Bowl team that was in there for the NFC, we were going to stomp. And we ended up blowing it in the second half. So that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the fact that that was his Super Bowl ring with the Jets. He wants it back. So it's been bothering him since. That's 1998. So 2008, 2018, and then so what? 5, 6, 7 years. So 27 years ago. And he's still stewing on it. And I like it, Wild Wave. I like that he brought that up. My buddy Rusty Spooner's back in the house. Rusty, already deep in his player evaluations. I always love talking. It's been years now, Rusty, right? We've been 4 or 5 years. We've been chit-chatting about prospects. There's quite a few that Rusty was the guy that kind of first introduced me to some players that I ended up really liking. One name is Leo Chanel, was a Rusty Spooner. But yeah, man, love having you around, buddy. Shawnee's here, my buddy. What about McCown? If we're going to first timers, maybe. I don't know if there's any connection there, though, if we can expect that. I haven't heard any real rumors that support that idea. No, I wouldn't be upset by it. But again, I don't really know what McCown has done. A couple of years as a quarterback coach, and obviously he's been in the league forever, so I don't have any doubts that he knows the game of football. And he did a good job with Sammy this year. We could say that. But anyway, I just don't think there's too much connective tissue there. I would be pretty happy with it if they said, hey, Josh McCown's our OC. I'd be like, oh, okay, great. Let's do it. But I haven't heard too much. Curly Norm says, my YouTube name is a combination of name from movie City Slickers. Ah, okay. Well, I'm going to call you Curly. Just like the guy in City Slickers. There you go. Money Mitch is here. Megan's here. Or should I call you Megan? I got to stop asking. Megan it is. Beal 66. Look at all you guys. I got to catch up. My buddy Dom down there at the Senior Bowl right now with my other buddy, Jets Chaos, right? They're down there doing the thing. Love it. They're having a blast. Dom's in his glory, man. This is shit's made for Dom. And I went there a couple years ago with Dom. We shared a hotel room, and we had romantic dinners in the hotel room together, just he and I. It's beautiful. Really, it was romantic and beautiful. I'll never forget it, Dom. Thank you. But Dom's down there. It's great. Braden from New Zealand is in the house. Good to see you, Braden, my buddy. Hennessy, we're built for this shit. Right on. The only problem with that, guys, it's fantastic, but it's already something that the Detroit Lions say. So that's kind of where he got it. We're the Detroit Lions. We're built for this shit. So I don't know. It's like when Rex came here and he said, play like a Jet. There was already a thing from where he came from called play like a Raven, which, nothing wrong with it. But it's nice when you have one that's all yours. Like, and the home of the Jets. I like that. I miss that. Let's see. Money Mitch checking in. Thanks, buddy. Says, how do you feel about the new GM and coach? Well, look, man, I don't know too much about the Moog, right? But it's like when you look at the resume, he's qualified to do it. It's like the lineage. You want to see guys that have held, different positions so they understand, kind of each angle, whether it's pro, look, like the director of pro personnel is significantly different than the director of college scouting. It's like where we're getting our free agents from. One of the rubs in the Joe Douglas era was we didn't do so good or so well with our free agency. There's a couple, but it's like overall, when you look at guys like Lake and Tomlinson, which is a shame because a lot of these guys, they come here, they don't look good, and then they look better elsewhere. So, like, I maintain that our offensive staff was not very good, man. I mean, it's not hard to see that. But as far as like development, like even some of the draft picks, but again, the free agents, like when they come here and they look like busts, a lot can happen with a better coaching staff if they're able to identify and maximize the talents of these guys. And if they can't, then it's like, oh, well, this guy sucks. Like you get rid of a Becton. They never liked the Salah never liked Becton from the word go. It was like Becton and Mims. He didn't like those guys. Why? I don't know. But maybe another coach, like these are young guys. It didn't take the Eagles very long to look at a Becton and go, oh yeah, we're moving him in at guard. I mean, it's an experiment, but clearly he lost his lateral movement with the 2 knee surgeries and the ankle thing. The last year he was here, he's like, he doesn't have the same ability to be a tackle that he did. So, but he's still a huge, big, strong, aggressive guy. Let's move him inside. And we didn't even try that shit. They did the same thing with Chuma Edoga. Now, we're not going to make the case that Chuma Edoga is a fucking all-pro or anything like that, but he's a good guard. And he had played some guard in college. He played a little bit of center. He played both tackles. He played all over the line in college. So, like, why can't we figure that out? Why are we going back? We needed so much help on the offensive line, and we're throwing guys away. And then you look at draft picks like Max Mitchell and Carter Warren that we don't know what the hell to do with them. I mean, they look like hot garbage. And they were good prospects, both of them. So, the coaching, though, but going back to what I was saying is that when you look at somebody who's going to be who's just got hired as our GM, what did they do before? And he's got the resume. So I'm excited about it. Maybe not the guy that I would have found. I mean, he wasn't even on our lists. So interesting. But Aaron Glenn, I've made my case. I've made my points very, very clear. He was not my first choice, but I never said throughout the whole process I said, I love the guy. I loved Aaron Glenn as a player, and clearly he's up. Like he's earned it. He fits into our formula that hasn't been working, which was, what I wanted to avoid. I wanted an experienced coach and preferably offense, but experience supersedes even the offense for me. But I love it. I'm in 100%. I think Aaron Glenn, again, that comment about the Denver game in 98, that has value to me, man. I'm like, oh, okay. He gets it. He's still pissed. There's unfinished business here. And I like that. Plus, think about it. And he said this. We drafted him, so his introduction to the NFL was with the New York Jets. When he retired and came back, got back into the league, it was with the New York Jets as a scout. He scouted for us for 2 years, went around, coached, defensive backs coach, defensive coordinator, and then his first head coaching job is with the Jets. It's like he's a Jet. So fuck it. Let's do it, baby. All right, let me catch up down here. I know Juggalo, I see you here. Lots of guys. Paris is here. All right, Money Mitch checking back in. Exactly. Look what happened with Becton. Exactly. I'm sorry. And if I would have saw that before I went on my diatribe, I would have brought it up. But yeah, but look at all the other guys too. We brought in cornerbacks, brought in safeties, we brought in all kinds of folks. And it just didn't seem to work here for the most part. Conklin is a pretty solid free agency pickup. I mean, we could say Tyrod Taylor, but we didn't see him much. But I think he's solid. Who else we got? As far as wide receivers, I mean, Devontae Adams was a trade. McCall Hardman was a big fat bust. Rashad Perryman was okay for a minute, right? But really not what we went back to Tampa Bay's. Very, very solid. But who else? You got the cornerback like Nate Hairston. He was a trade. Quincy Wilson was a trade. I mean, we didn't do too well with our free agency pickups. I can't think of too many. Quincy Williams was a waiver wire pickup. So technically you can call that kind of free agency. And that's a hit for sure. But who else we got? I guess DJ Reed's a good one. Right? That's a hit. CJ Mosley, that was before Joe Douglas. Whitehead he had his moments for sure. Who else? Give me a list. Hey Nathan, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Give me your guys' lists. Right, Laken Tomlinson was under, but he's playing well. I forget where he went, but he had a good year this year. It's like we was a Pro Bowl guy. We bring him over here, and he was. Right? How bad was he? Right from the first game against the Ravens at home, we couldn't believe it. We're like, what the fuck's going on with this guy? He was terrible. Pierre Desir was a bad one. Good pull, Curly Norman. Bad. He was terrible for us. He had his moments, but overall terrible. Mike Williams, right? Another failed free agent signing. Who else we got? Let me scroll and see what you guys are saying. Try to bring him up. Oh, Jeremy's here. What's up, Jeremy? He's down at the Senior Bowl too. Oh, you're fighting with Gitmo Bob. Okay, I thought you were saying hi. I don't want to get into all that. You guys can have your little convos. What's up, Gitmo Bob? I didn't see you, but I imagine you're here. Drupacabra's here. Gitmo Bob, Oregon, GBH. JFM was another waiver wire pickup. So again, I guess we can factor. I think we can call those they're free agents. So I guess Braxton Berrios was another waiver wire pickup, and they were all good for us. JFM, Braxton Berrios, Quincy, obviously. Tyron Smith failed. Great pull, Oregon. Fail. Big whiff. Big whiff. On him. Holy shit. That sucked. I didn't expect him to make it through the whole season, but I did not expect him to suck like he sucked. Dallas knew. They're like, he is done. He's done. Carl Lawson's another one. Now, right, over Hendrickson. That's the ticket. We should have really made that push. But Carl Lawson, it's a shame too, because he tore his Achilles in his first training camp with us. It was a joint practice with the Packers. So I think that kind of ruined it. His second year, he was very solid for us, but, not great. And then the third year, he was a healthy scratch, like most of the season. Morgan Moses was a very good free agent signing, but here's the thing, Drupacabra. Then we let him go. We had no interest. And that reminds me of Fant, right? Fant was a very good free agent signing of Joe Douglas, and we let Moses go because we had Fant and Becton. And then Becton ended up getting hurt, like right from the beginning of the year, and we had already lost Moses, and he played for a few years down in Baltimore. He played exceptionally well. So it's one of those things. You got to know who to keep. You know what I mean? That's the other side of it. It's like if you're not going to be able to to replace it adequately, you got to be able to retain these guys. And I think that we did a lot of that too. Let's see who else. Let me see. Snacks. That's Snacks Harrison. That's years ago. Manon. That's like fucking. He was an undrafted free agent for us, but he was like Tannenbaum, I think. He's a long time ago, buddy. Dripper Covers, Dwayne Brown. Yeah. You know what's crazy? He was like never hurt ever. He was here for 4 days and he tore his rotator cuff. And that reminds me of another one, Chuck Clark. Chuck Clark, he never missed a snap his whole career. He doesn't make it through a training camp with us. We're cursed. And I think he had an okay year last year, but he's gone. So I would say, and that was a trade. So not quite free agency, but same pocket. That would fall under the guys or under the purview of the director of pro personnel. I mean, who we trading for, right? Aaron Rodgers. That's pretty funny, Jay. And again, another trade, but I think that was the right move. It's like it's another thing. Like when you look at Dwayne Brown, Chuck Clark, Aaron Rodgers, these guys, like they all come in and they get hurt instantly with us. How bad was that Achilles after 4 plays, guys? Fucking brutal. Let's see. Who else we got? Greg Van Roten. He's playing fine, right? Again, but doesn't that, it's another example of like, what was going on here? That he was like a turnstile. And then he goes and he plays for the Bills and then the Giants. And he might not be an all-pro, but he's definitely, he's quality. So Connor McGovern was one that did pretty well for us. Alex Lewis, that was a fail. Hassan Reddick, terrible. Especially because we got rid of JFM to like make room monetarily. Well, Beal, we're trying to talk about like Joe Douglas. So Le'Veon Bell was McCagnon right before Joe Douglas got here. So like that was like CJ Mosley, Le'Veon Bell. Dalvin Cook, another huge whiff. And it took plays away from and Dalvin Cook. So it took time away from Brees. Remember, it was like halfway through the season, and then Hackett's finally like, dude, we're just going to give the ball to Brees. And then he says, oh, we didn't realize Brees could be such a threat out of the backfield. Oh, no. How come it takes our staff so long? Like you heard Jeff Ulbricht, he's down there with the Atlanta Falcons, and they're asking him, hey, what do you think went wrong? And he's like, I probably should have, fucking given the defensive coordinator duties. Once again, like we're saying that from the word go. And we got to endure this whole season of a guy clearly underwater. Now, like reflectively, he's like, oh, yeah, I should have. Yeah, thanks for wasting our whole fucking year. You know what I mean? Sam Aiken checking in. Says Mitchell and Warren have the same negatives that was on their scouting reports. Whose fault is that? Why is Keith Carter still on the Jets? Yeah, no, it's a great point, Sam. And that's what I was saying. I agree 100%. Like Max Mitchell was a quality prospect in the 4th round. It was a perfect spot to get him. Get him in the strength program. I forget what it was, but I know there was some strength issues, but like nothing crazy. Just, yeah. I mean, it's totally fixable, totally doable. There was a few other things, but all of it should be developable. And like he looks worse. He's actually regressed. His rookie year, he played better than he is now. Carter Warren, another one. He was a good prospect. He slid a little, maybe a round or two more to the 5th, I think he was, because he was injured. Which, by the way, maybe not take so many injured guys in the draft. He likes to do that too. But yeah, man. So like Keith Carter's, he's a fucking waste of space. I can't wait to see who our offensive line coach is, but we got to go out there and get him. You got to get our OC and really start making a case for somebody that's worth a damn for the offensive line. You know what I mean? Shawnee. Yeah, that was that? Yeah, that was McCagnon too. Tremaine Johnson. Ugh. Terrible. We overpaid the hell out of that guy. Yeah, Duncan, Bryce Huff, and Becton over there on the Eagles Super Bowl roster. But like you said, I mean, he's not doing anything. But Vic Fangio just, look, I don't need him. The GM paid him, was excited. But don't forget, like Vic Fangio was just coming in. This is his first year, if I remember correctly, as a defensive coordinator there. They had a different one last year. I just forget his name. But so he's trying to give, bolster the team and the line. They knew they were losing Reddick. So they said, let's just, let's replace him with a young, super fast speed rusher. And Vic Fangio just said, I don't need him. Plays very, very limited, but he's on deck. So having Bryce Huff on deck isn't the worst situation in the world. But I'll tell you what, though, Duncan, imagine this. So we're a little bit bothered, right? You got to see Becton and Bryce Huff the year they leave us go right to the Super Bowl. But that ain't nothing to seeing Saquon Barkley and what he's doing over there. Giants fans, dude, that's brutal because they loved him. It's like letting Garrett Wilson go and he goes to the Chiefs or wherever. They go right to the Super Bowl and he's dominating the league. I mean, Saquon Barkley is unbelievable. The shit that he's doing. How about that backwards hop step over somebody's helmet? Remember that? And you saw it in this week's game, in the championship game. It's unbelievable. That is painful. That's why people are like, oh, trade Garrett Wilson. I'm like, no way. The talent's clearly there. The drive to win is clearly there. I was in a conversation with somebody earlier. They were calling him a diva. I don't see Garrett Wilson as a diva. I think he's the opposite of a diva. Like the stuff that he complains about is like, he wants to fucking win. And that's what you want. It's not good enough. This is not good enough for me. I'm working my ass off. Like he's 100% every single play. That's the opposite of a diva. Divas are like, when they're not getting the ball, they're playing half speed and they're whining about not getting the ball and all that shit. You know what I mean? It's like, like Elijah Moore. We were on a first win streak we've had in years, like a 4-game win streak, and he comes out complaining. Like, Garrett Wilson wouldn't be complaining. If we're on a 4-game win streak, you wouldn't hear a peep from Garrett Wilson. So, I don't want to let a talent like that go. You put him on the right team with the right quarterback, dude, he's going to blow it up. He's had 9 quarterbacks in 3 years. Think about that. Maybe it's 10 now with Tyrod Taylor. It's 9 or 10. In 3 years, 9 or 10 fucking quarterbacks. And he's had 3 1,000-yard seasons, 1,100 plus this year, 7 touchdowns. Can you imagine? We want to get rid of this guy. What are you, nuts? Uzoma was another disappointment, right? No, Fant didn't suck. Fant was actually borderline Pro Bowl left tackle for us. And then he was right tackle. Then he had to play left tackle. That's when Morgan Moses came in and played right. Don't forget, we had Becton, Fant, and Morgan Moses. We chose Fant to start at right tackle, and Becton got hurt. I think it was in the first game. So they moved Fant back over to left tackle, to left tackle. Morgan Moses played right tackle, and Fant had a great year. He was fantastic. Corey Davis was another meh at best. He had his moments, but very disappointing overall, I'd say. Oh, Jets, when they talk about snacks, they're talking about you, Jeremy? Is that what it is? Was there another snacks? I think it's Jeremy. I did know that. Over there in, what was it, East Hanover? Florham Park area? He got caught. I remember. What's up, Paris? He says, I think Aaron Glenn having scouting experience. I agree. I think it's going to be helpful. He understands that aspect, that side. I think it's a positive. I mean, I don't know how much will kind of lean on that, but he at least understands the process. You know what I mean? Like there's benefit to that. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, my friend. Well, no, I don't want to go too far back. I'm trying to keep it to Joe Douglas, like our recent, Yeah, I mean, I think his best free agent signing was DJ Reed. But if you add like the waiver wire pickups, which are kind of free agency, I think Quincy Williams, JFM. I mean, I think Quincy Williams takes that cake. But JFM, Braxton Berrios, he did all right there. Well, overrated by some, and I could fall into that category. But I think it's balanced. I think he did it. He was a good GM. Look at the roster. Everybody expected us to compete for a Super Bowl last year. That's the GM. He did a good job, even with all those whiffs. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. He's not the worst. He's not terrible. And he's not, we're not building a statue. But results are everything. And you can make excuses, but 6 straight years he was the GM. You give him a pass on the first year because he didn't get the draft, he didn't get free agency. So 5 years, we never eclipsed 7 wins. Not good enough. Got to go. You know what I mean? So what else we got? Let me try to catch up here. I know I'm way behind. Doug Hefferman says, what's up, Doug? GreenBean, you're a household name over these parts. LOL, my kids love you. That's awesome. Tell them I said hello. Hello, Doug's kids. Hello, Heffermans. Love from GreenBean. There you go. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me. David says, I'm a Virginia native. Well, I'm not native, but that's where I live too. Mm-hmm. I live in Virginia. It's funny because I never thought I would. It's one of those places, when you're from New Jersey, you grew up most of your life there, and you live in other places. Like I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in Las Vegas for a very short period of time, but I'd worked in Las Vegas as a plumber. And then I lived in South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood. to end up in Virginia. It's just one of the places, like, it's like living in, it's like for me to end up in like Oklahoma. It's like I would just never see that coming. Virginia was interesting. I never saw this coming. I have no history here, no family here, but my wife's side, my wife's family is Virginian from 1700s, man. There are streets named after her family in Virginia. So that's how it happened. You just never know. Lawrence Yance. What's up, Lawrence? He says, I think he's going to prioritize safety, be doing a lot of 49ers type stuff where we still 4-3 base with a single high safety. Dude, it's one of my rubs for the Joe Douglas era. I mean, dude, safety is one of my favorite positions. And I understand, why it would be considered less valuable than like cornerback or edge and all that. But dude, I think especially a ball hawking safety, like a free safety that can cover the field and has a nose for the ball, is invaluable. Invaluable. Like, it's not just a throwaway. Like, we have undrafted free agents playing. We have Ashton Davis, who was the 3rd round pick, but I thought overdrafted. I didn't like the pick the day it happened, but that's fine. But a couple free agents, but with 7th round pick that we traded for Chuck Clark, and we got Tony Adams, who's an undrafted free agent. We had Jason Pinnock, who was a 4th or 5th round pick, who we should have kept, and we didn't. We exposed them to waivers, and he was grabbed very quickly by the New York Giants, and he's their starting free safety. So, like, I don't know. I'm really happy to see that. If that's what happens, I think, dude, come on. Like, you guys know, in the 2022 draft, I was all Kyle Hamilton, man. And he's showing everybody why. He's an absolute game changer. And they've put him at linebacker, and he plays well there. They put him at strong safety. They put him at free safety. I mean, he's one of those guys. I would love to have Kyle Hamilton. Now, we got Sauce, and Sauce started his career with 2 All-Pros. So, like, I have no complaints. You can't get everybody, but that's why I was all about Kyle Hamilton. Having that guy roaming back there that can cover and has a nose for the ball, but is also not a pansy and can lay you out or at least make the tackle consistently. Safety, invaluable. That's why I loved Victor Green, Lonnie Young, Eric McMillan back in the day. Obviously, Ronnie Lott for the couple years we had him. Yeah. And then what was the guy that Rex brought over, the little dude? What was his name again? I don't know why it's slipping my mind. What was his name? Come on, why can't I remember his name? Somebody put it in the chat for me. The safety that Rex brought over with him when he came here. There it is. Thank you, GBH. Jim Leonard. Rusty had it too. Thanks, guys. Jet Up Noel or Noel had it as well. Thanks. Yeah, Jim Leonard. He was good too. Who was our other safety for that team? Anybody remember? Kerry Rhodes was another good one, Jay. Good pull, Jason Edwards. But he was a showboat, and he was soft. And Rex, 1 year with Kerry Rhodes, and he said enough. They traded Kerry Rhodes for a 3rd, if I remember correctly. And then they traded a 3rd for Antonio Cromartie, which I think is a net positive. I did like Kerry Rhodes, though. Dynamic player. If he wasn't so much of a showboat and on the softer side, I guess, he would have been here for a while. He was he's a great player. And I have no real negatives to throw at him per se, just reasons, but Yeah, I liked Kerry Rhodes. He was the last ball hawker, right? Danny Woodhead. Whitehead has had his moments, like 3 picks in one Buffalo game, and then he ends the year in week 1. He gets 3 interceptions, and then he ends the year with 3 interceptions. Like, come on, you know what I mean? Come on. So I don't know. I'm hoping that he does. I'm hoping that he does put some focus on the safety position. Would I kick the tires on Eugene Smith? Gino? No. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back with Gino. I don't want to go back with Sammy. I don't want to go back with Zach. I want to go forward. You know what I mean? Danger zone. Like, as Jets fans, we have a lot of that nostalgia thing, like the idea of bringing Rex in. Like, look, I love Rex, but I see no reason why going back to that, like trying to go back and recapture. I mean, he's got unfinished business too, rightfully so. I agree with him, but you know, I don't want to go backwards. Like Aaron Glenn, even though he's a Jet, it's still forwards or forward. You know what I mean? I do remember that, Hennessy. Danny Woodhead. Now, the guy we kept over Danny Woodhead was Joe McKnight. And Joe McKnight, while maybe not, God rest his soul, maybe not the dynamic running back, that we had hoped to get in the draft. I think it was 3rd round pick. But he ended up being a really solid returner for us, like really good for a few years there. So, I mean, I get it. When you look at Joe McKnight versus Danny Woodhead, it's hard to justify. But Danny Woodhead, he's one of those guys. He's like what I like to call a football player. Remember Joe McKnight, his first couple practices, he was puking all over the place. And Danny Woodhead's just this little unsung fella. He just outworks everybody. And he had a long career. Patriots scooped him right up. He did well for them. And then he went, the Chargers, right? I think he had a nice long career. Yeah, I love guys that for all intents and purposes, they like a Corbett, right? They maybe shouldn't even be here, but they outwork everybody. They got the talent. They have talent, but it's not like that, 6'4". Like some of these guys, just they're born with it. They're born with the leg up. They got the height, they got the speed, they got, you know what I mean? And they just refine that. But a lot of those guys, they don't put in the same work. They don't have to. And then you get these other guys, like they're a little smaller, a little lighter, whatever it might be. And they outwork you. Snacks Harrison was another one like that. He's an undrafted free agent, and he just outworked everybody. And remember, we had the Sons of Anarchy, right? Wilkerson, Richardson, Harrison. Wasn't there another one in there? Maybe. Who was it? Wilkerson, Richardson, Harrison, Copels. But like Copels should have been the best out of all of them, but he was lazy. And then you got Snacks Harrison, and we ended up letting Snacks Harrison go, keeping Wilkerson, and we made the wrong move. We paid the pedigree, and Snacks Harrison was the guy to keep. He was the one who was working his way up. Jermaine Johnson's a good example of that. He worked his way up, man. So anyway, LaRon Landry. Remember that one? Remember LaRon Landry? Those pictures. That fucking guy. His body. Xavier Watts, right. That's the guy we got our eye on. Let me see something here. Who's the other one? Who's the other one? Obviously Malachi Starks, but Eamon Worry. Who's the other guy? I was just looking at somebody. Is it Kevin Winston? Maybe I gotta settle in here. I'm still so scattered. Yeah. How about Jonas Sanker out of Virginia? I got to take a look at that guy. My Virginia peeps. Yeah, remember, dude, like Clay Wavy? They're saying he was like, I'm not on steroids. There's no way that guy wasn't on some sort of, you know what I mean? Steroids, human growth hormone, something. He was, let's take a look at this guy. LaRon Landry. It was like ridiculous. Like, look at this. Let me show you guys. Bypass system private window. What is this? This will allow Google Chrome to record your screen and system audio, including get the fuck out of here. Why are you doing that? No, I don't want to do that. Why would I let you do that? Look at this guy. For you youngins that don't remember LaRon Landry. Dude, look at that arm. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Look at him. Like, can you imagine? Can you look at this fucking guy? There was some other ones. Where's like I mean, he was massive. He was a Jet. He was a Jet for a little while. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this guy. Like, come on. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. I don't know. I want to remind you guys about the offer from BetUS, everybody. BetUS, going into this Super Bowl, man, you got to take a look. You got to go to America's favorite sports book and take advantage of this offer. The offer, everybody, is one of the best in the whole entire biz out here. It's a 150% bonus. Look at this. Why is it covering my face? All right. On your first deposit up to $2,000 just by using the promo code YouTube150, everybody. That's also going to get you a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000. Again, America's favorite sports book for a reason. Now, we're going into the big game, but that doesn't mean that that's the end of your opportunity here. They got everything from politics to darts to baseball, you name it, it's all there. BetUS is the place to do it. And this is the offer, YouTube 150. Get yourself a little extra capital to play with. Why not? Why not take advantage of that? If you're if you're testing your luck out there, think you got the answer, take advantage of the offer. YouTube 150, everybody. All right. What else we got here? Leon Banks checking in. What's up, man? I like Glenn. He won't put up with the BS. I have hope. That's so important, right? Because that was one of the major problems this year, Leon. One of the major problems. We preached accountability and there was zero Zero accountability. You could give up 3 sacks and 5 pressures. You weren't benched. You can drop a bunch of passes and miss blocks. You weren't benched. It's like you can give up touchdowns. You weren't benched. Nobody was ever benched unless they were named Malachi Corley, Denzel Mims. They benched Tony Adams for some weird reason in the middle of the season. Like, think about this. Greg Zuerlein's missing kicks, literally losing us games. They didn't bench him. They never did. They put him on IR. They never told us he was banged up, injured, nothing. It was like a soft bench so he can keep his pride. It's bullshit. So I think Aaron Glenn, if he can bring that, which we believe he can, we haven't seen it in practical application yet. But, Parcells, Peyton, those are guys known for that stuff. So, and Campbell up there, very aggressive. You know what I mean? Passionate fella. So it leads you to believe that will be something that he brings, and that is key. You gotta, it's like the whole Saleh thing about, somebody's, penalties, missing blocks, and he goes, well, they don't need to be. What am I going to do? Tell him to do push-ups? Like, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Or am I make him do push-ups? He's a grown man. Like, dude, what did you just get into this thing? There's discipline is required. Responsibility, accountability, repercussions. And why can't Malachi Corley get on the field? And then Tyron Smith is giving up sacks every week and pressure. Aaron Rodgers is getting killed. You know what I mean? It's a double standard. And you can't have that. And that's why we lost the team. That's it. Thanks, John. John's saying, look at this. GreenBean's the GOAT. Thanks, buddy. Tigo's here. What's up, Tigo? Good to see you, bud. Let's see. Wasn't that funny, Rusty? That guy was massive. Massive. Jason Edwards, my good bud, checking in. Stephen Hill dropped a wide open pass for a touchdown in Foxborough that he still should be running now, right? He had his best game, his first professional game, just like Eddie Lee Wilkins from the Knicks in the 80s. Right, remember that was against Buffalo. He had 2 touchdowns or whatever the hell it was. But he was one of those players. He was a second-round pick of the Jets. He had almost zero college production. It was all perceived value. He was super fast, and he had the build, right? He was like perfect specimen. But this is where you get into that debate, like traits, build, all those kinds of things, athleticism versus production. I value traits and all that, of course, but I'm a big production guy. If you got a couple years of tape, that's on the football field. That's in competition. He runs a great 40. He does an amazing 3-cone and fucking high jump and all that. That's great. It's important. But what did he do on the field? You know how they lots of guys, they don't run a 40 well. They get on the field, somebody's chasing them, and they're lightning fast. Nobody can catch them. But in the 40, they're running a 4.6. He's slow. Is he? Not on the field, he's not. So that's the kind of thing. Stephen Hill, personally, I didn't like the draft. I didn't want him that year. I forget who I wanted. Let's see what it was. Stephen Hill draft. Let's see what year that was. I forget. 2012 NFL Draft. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at it together, Jason Edwards. Now, I don't remember, so I'm going to have to look at this with you guys. Let's see here. Who did the Jets take in the first? We're usually up top. Let's see. Oh, no. This was the Quentin Coples year, which, by the way, the pick was Melvin Ingram. That's who we should have taken. Rex had his own idea. Remember, he told Coples, if you're on the board when we draft, we're taking you. So we took Quentin Coples. The pick that we should, or Chandler Jones. That was the other one that we were talking about. It was Melvin Ingram or Chandler Jones, and we took Quentin Coples. Which I didn't hate the pick, but the word on him was that he's lazy. He's really, really good one week, nothing the next week, or, one play to the next. You never know what you're getting. The idea was that Rex could motivate him. Let's see. So look at all these great guys. So don't forget, man, with the Joe Douglas stuff, like he came in, at least we're hitting on our first and second round picks. That was not always the case. Well, let's see. Who the hell were we talking about again? I forget who we're. Oh, Stephen Hill. There he is. So we had Stephen Hill. We took him at pick 43. And look who's right here. Alshon Jeffrey, right? Alshon Jeffrey. Let me see. I forget who I wanted this year. I definitely did not want Stephen Hill. I wanted a wide receiver. I don't know if it was Jeffrey or not, but let me just take a look here. Ooh, Kelechi Osemele. Remember him? Ruben Randall. It probably was Jeffrey. TJ Graham. Oh, look, Russell Wilson. And then we took Demario Davis. It was probably Jeffrey that I wanted. I can't remember, but I definitely did not want Stephen Hill. I didn't like it. I'm like, he's got no production, man. And they said, the type of offense that he was in, they didn't give him a lot of opportunity. I get that, but I don't know. I didn't love Stephen Hill. He was gone in played for us for like 2 years. He's gone. It's crazy, isn't it? What's up? Bang Mateo checking in. Rookie GM, head coach, offensive coordinator in DC is a bad recipe. Come on, man. Well, we're going to bring in an experienced DC. That's the word on the street. But I hear you, dude. That was my whole thing. That was my whole gripe. But here we are. So I'm in. And if it's going to be that combo, if it's going to be that situation, that scenario, I'm glad it's Aaron Glenn. That's all I'm saying. But with that all said, guys, I'm going to bounce out of here. I'm exhausted. I've been awake since 2:30 in the morning. So it's like we're coming around the mountain here. 20 hours. I'm shot. I love you guys. Don't forget about the great offer from the wonderful BetUS, 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 just by using the promo code YouTube150. And I thank BetUS for hanging out with us all year. It's been a rough year, and they've been a bright spot. Man. But with that all said, my good friends, I will see you. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And with that all said, I'm going to wish you a wonderful evening. I will see you next time.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
We compete